Hello everybody, this is Dr. Marshall, and I wanted to just talk with you a little bit here at the beginning of the Hebrew course online to give you a few pointers and tips on what's going to be the best way to conduct your schedule weekly. Give you some ideas about how to take care of discussion boards, and also to make some comments about how best to get your homework done, and a good method for taking care of that in terms of scheduling your time. So just wanted to put my face up here for a minute just to say hello, but I'm going to switch to basically my screencast, and we'll work through this just looking at the screen here. So let me direct your attention there. So let me start here at the home page for the Hebrew course in Blackboard. I'm going to be using the Hebrew 2312 Blackboard course, even though you may be taking this as Hebrew 5301. It doesn't matter. Everything is set up the same way. But of course, when you first begin, you want to go to the Start Here button, and of course that will give you my welcome. And this will look a little bit different on my screen compared to yours. I guess I may as well go ahead and switch this to the student view, and that way you won't get too confused. So this is what it'll look like. So obviously you have hopefully watched my welcome video, some options for how to scan things into PDF. I do need them scanned into PDF files. That's going to be the easiest thing to work with whenever you're uploading your homework and that sort of thing. And then there's some other instructions here about the Respondus browser, the lockdown browser. The next thing you need to do, though, is you need to go to the course content, and from there you're going to be clicking on the course syllabus and schedule. It's a great idea to print this out and to have it handy. The important thing on the course syllabus and schedule is really the course schedule, okay? So when you click on that, you're going to get this screen here. And this schedule is going to walk you week by week through the different modules that are going to be completed by you, the student. Module week 1 is what we're in right now. And here's what I wanted to show you, and this is going to be really important for you. When you get inside the course and start working on the assignments, it's going to structure it this way, but looking at the course schedule, it's not always entirely clear what's happening. The first thing I want to point out here is this. If you look at week 2, there is a quiz. We will be doing a quiz not every week, but every other week, and that quiz always happens in the even weeks. So we'll do basically 2 weeks of coursework, homework material, and then a quiz. So over here, quiz number 1 is going to be tied to the content for lessons 1, 2, and 3. All right? And then when you get down to week 4, you have quiz number 2 here, and quiz number 2, of course, will be covering material from lessons 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so that's how the quizzes are going to work. If we were doing a face-to-face class, I would be giving you a quiz after every lesson. Here we're going to save up the quizzes and do them as one larger quiz at the end of each 2 weeks. So, as a rule of thumb then, we are covering 3 chapters per 2 weeks. Ideally, we would have an even number of chapters a week, maybe 2 and 2 or 1 and 1, but because of the way the textbook is structured, it's important for us to cover 3 chapters per 2 weeks, and that creates a little bit of a problem, because ideally I would have set this up on the course schedule for us to do something like this. In week 1, module 1, you would have had marked here lesson 1 homework and lesson 2 half of the homework. And then in module 2, lesson 2 would be the second half of the homework, and then the lesson 3 homework. I really would like to have divided the work up evenly between the 2 weeks, but we weren't permitted to do it that way. So I was asked to put the homework due date in module 2 or week 2, but you're going to notice that when you start doing your lesson overviews and watching those, the lesson 2 videos are assigned in week 1, but the actual written homework for lesson 2 is assigned in week 2. Okay, and that's the way it's going to work each time. So when we get to weeks 3 and 4, you're going to do your lesson 4 overviews, where you'll watch the video of me going over the lesson. You're going to do your lesson 4 homework, and then you're going to also do the lesson 5 videos, okay, where you watch the overview of the video material, but then you won't actually complete the homework until week 4 begins. All right. Now, I recommend that you get started on the next lesson's homework for the second week of the 2 weeks. So like for lesson 5, I recommend you even start working on that homework during week 3 if you can. You will have watched the videos. You may as well get started on the homework if you have time, because you're going to want to devote time to getting ready for the quiz, because that quiz is going to go all the way back to week 3, the lesson 4 material, and then the lesson 5 and the lesson 6 material. If you shove all of the lesson 5 and 6 work, videos, homework, everything, into week 4, then you're going to have a really compressed time getting ready for your quiz. And I want to just encourage you to try to really even up that work between each of the 2 weeks. Okay, so odd weeks and even weeks, you're covering 3 lessons in order to get ready for the quiz during the even lesson. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out to you. Now let's go back to the website and look at the way the course looks in Blackboard. Once we're back here in Blackboard, we want to go back to course content here. And what I just want to show you are a couple of other things. Let's go to Module 1 or Week 1. And you'll see here for reading and study, this is just a written overview or typed up overview of what's inside there. Learning activities and assessments, those are summarized here as well. But you actually have to click on each of these tabs to get to the material itself. So textbook reading, here you're told what to read. So notice that even though lesson 2 homework is under the course schedule for week 2, the lesson 2 reading of the chapter and the video overviews and all the course handouts, these all pertain to lessons 1 and 2. Okay, so if we go back over here, you have audio files where you can listen to me reading the vocab words and you can practice. But notice that the presentations that you're watching during week 1 are all the chapter 1 videos. There's a couple of those. And then you're watching the lesson 2 videos here, right? So there they are. Now, I don't have a recorded homework review session for lesson 1. But let me go to Module 2, and I want to show you something that I really strongly encourage you to take advantage of. Okay, so under reading and study, you're doing the lesson 3 presentations, and then there's some supplementary materials, a homework review for lesson 2 and a homework review for lesson 3. In these homework reviews, I'm actually working with students live and going over homework exercises and answering questions and drilling down on some things that are important to know. These supplemental materials are separated off from the lesson overview materials. And what that means is this. When we designed the course, these video lectures were designated as required. The supplemental materials are not considered required. In other words, you won't be penalized if you don't actually watch them, but you will hurt yourself if you don't watch them, because we don't have a way within this online Blackboard classroom format to actually review the homework together. So the next best thing is to actually watch me interacting on the homework with live students and fielding their questions and pointing out things that they need to keep in mind. And it's like you're listening in from the back of the classroom. And as you watch these lesson homework reviews, you'll actually find important things that maybe you missed that will really help you to understand the material in the lesson and the actual homework exercises. So even though it's not a requirement, they're under supplemental, I really don't think that you can do well in this class without watching them. So I'm going to encourage you strongly to do that if you really want to learn Hebrew. I often find that an online student will ask me a question. They will tell me, I don't understand this. I did the homework. I checked it against the answer key. I'm missing it, and I don't understand why. And the answer was in the homework review that you could have watched. So don't waste your time flopping around like a fish out of water when the answer is right there. So watch the homework overviews. And pretty much for almost every homework exercise besides lesson 1, you're going to find that under the supplemental materials for the week that the homework's due. All right, so do take advantage of that. The last thing I want to do is just mention something about the discussion boards. So let me pull that up here real quick. So when you go to Module 1, Week 1, under the Reading and Study tab, you'll see the Learning Activities and Assessment tab. You have already noticed that there's a course attendance review. In order to complete that, and the due date is always Wednesday of the first week, click that, and that would take care of going through the syllabus, acknowledging that you've received it, and all of that. The Introduction Discussion Board, if you click on this, it'll allow you to engage in the initial introductory discussion board, and everybody has to do that. It's a great way to get to know each other. And what I want to really encourage you to do is not only post your own introduction, which you all must do, but I really want you to read all of the other students' introductions and to actually interact with them. Welcome them to the class, mention something if they said something interesting to you, mention that, ask them questions. This is an opportunity for you to get to know one another in a more personal way. In the other discussion boards, you're going to be dealing with grammar and stuff like that. So that's really not the time to be asking questions about how your pet's doing or whatever, right? But in the introductory discussion board, that's really where that happens. Now, the other thing is, aside from the introductory discussion board, there is a discussion board related to the homework in Module 1. So let me go back to that. And here's what I want to say about that. Go down here. Okay, so discussion board forum 1. In your initial thread for this discussion board forum, you will pose at least 2 questions for further discussion, 1 question for your fellow students related to the textbook readings, 1 question related to the written homework assignments. In other words, pose a question, one that's legitimately a question that you don't know the answer to from the reading, and you may already understand the readings, and so you want to pose a question that you think would just create some good discussion. The other question should be related to the homework assignment. Maybe there's something in the homework you didn't understand. Maybe there was an answer on the answer key that didn't quite make sense to you. This is a great place to ask that question. If you understood everything about the homework, then pose a question that you think maybe somebody else missed and would provide a good opportunity for some discussion. So you'll post your questions, and then you will provide comments answering questions that the other students have asked. So here's what's really important. You need to make your initial post by midnight Thursday night of the module week that we're having a discussion board. And the reason for that is the other students need to be able to interact with your questions. If you don't ask a question, no one's going to be interacting with it between Thursday and Sunday when your responses to people's questions are due. If we're in a small class that has just a couple of students and only one of you is posting questions, the person who posted the questions doesn't have any questions from you if you're the other student to answer. So it's going to be really important that everybody get their questions posted on at least by Thursday. I recommend you post them earlier than Thursday, but deadline Thursday of the module week, and then get those replies in by Sunday. Ask meaningful questions, provide meaningful interactive answers, and that will help everybody involved. Okay? So I look forward to reading your discussion boards and interacting with you and seeing your homework come in and your quizzes as they are completed. So good luck, and let me know if you have any questions.